Hello and welcome to the first battle report of 8th edition here on SkaredCast, and we've got the Dark Eldar versus someone who we haven't seen in a long time. Bob comes back with his Tau, and we're playing 1,000 points, the Relic, with the pointy deployment. Let's begin. Hello and welcome to the first 8th edition battle report. We have the Relic, which is a cool little Blood Bowl trophy, and we're playing on a blasted landscape. We've got the Tau, 1,000 points, versus the Drukhari, 1,000 points. So let's go over the army lists and then dive into the battle report. Now, 8th edition has changed a few things. It's definitely a very, very entertaining game. So stay tuned. If you have any questions, there's links below. There's all the tactical videos that we're going to be doing. And let's start with Bob. Hello, Bob.
Hello. I have a spearhead right here. This is my commander. He has 3 missile pods and a shield generator. Okay. He has the Warlord trait that allows you to ignore wounds on a 6 after they've dealt the wound. Yep, makes sense. Next to him, I have my broadside. He is the heavy rail rifle with 2 missile pods. Yep. Next to him, I have Commander Longstrike. Longstrike. So he has the railgun and 2 smart missile systems, which is the same as my other hammerhead. Yep, 2 of them at 1,000 points. And then I have 3 squads of 10 fire warriors. Cheapo troops with good weapons, and this is 1,000 points of Tau shooty goodness. Okay, so let's move on to the Drukhari force. I'm running a battalion, so I've got the 3 troops, the 2 HQs for an extra 3 command points. So he's got 4 command points. Those give you additional things in-game. It's really entertaining, really fun. So I'm running a Succubus with an Archite Glaive and a Splinter Pistol, an Archon with a Husk Blade. I'm running 5 Mandrakes. They're cool. In Fast Attack, I'm just running 2 little dogs. I don't really know why I put them in there, but usually it's just to help against deep striking stuff. I've got a Razor Wing with lances, missiles, and a twin-linked rifle. I've got 9 Witches with an Agonizer and Hydra Gauntlets. They can pick their drugs now. So I picked +1 attack for their drugs. I've got 9 Cabalite Warriors with a blaster and a power sword in the unit as well. And then we have, she picked +2 movement on her combat drugs. Then I've got another unit of Cabalite Warriors, the 5-man screen. And we've got this Raider, which is a Cabalite Raider, and this Ravager with 3 lances, and this Raider that is a Witch Raider. So 1,000 points versus 1,000 points. Who will take the Relic? Who will survive? And who will be left bloodied in the dust of the desert? Let's begin with deployment. I won the roll-off, so I had to pick the deployment style. So I picked a little pointy thing to make sure that it was closer to the Relic. And to, you know, if he wants to get close, that's fine. Being Tau, he probably doesn't want to get too close too quickly. And then Bob gets to start deploying first. So during deployment, we alternate. He puts a unit down, then I'll put a unit down. So we're going to go back and forth, and the person who finishes deploying their force first chooses whether to go first or second. Okay, we'll be back after deployment. With 2 hammerheads, it's... Okay, let's go on to deployment. Longstrike, by the way, with judging about him, he's pretty nasty. So he can take out some tanks. So Bob deployed first. He put his commander in a Manta, so he's going to be deep striking. Then I put down the 2 puppies, so they're over here. And then he put down some fire warriors in the cathedral.
And then I put down, I just was kind of baiting him, so I put down my Razorwing. And then he put down some more fireworks. Oh no, he put down his broadside. So I put down my little warrior unit. So he put down some fireworks. Then I put down my witches. Then he put down more fireworks. Then I put down my guy. Then he put down a hammerhead. Then I made my mandrakes go into the shadows. And then he put down long strike, so he finished deploying first. And I put down my Ravager out of line of sight of long strike and hammerheads. Okay, which means that Bob does choose to go first or second.
First.
So he's trying to go first, and I do get a chance to seize the initiative. Other than that, Bob, have a fantastic game. Enjoy. First battle report for 8th edition, and do the Drukhari. Steal the initiative. They do not. That is a 4. Okay, on to Tau, turn 1. Let's begin. As the battle is joined, the Tau seize the initiative as the Dark Eldar advance and are about to let loose with their incredible firepower. Let's begin. Okay, Tau, turn 1. And the Tau essentially stayed put, except for these fire warriors, and blasted into the Dark Eldar line. The commander has deep struck behind the tower, and combined shooting killed 4 of the Kabalite warriors. There's 1 remaining, and his morale held. The Ravager has taken 3 wounds from damage D3 from the rocket pods, and 3 got through, so ouch, he's down to 7 wounds left. My Raider took the brunt of the firepower. It took long strike, the broadside, and the other hammerhead. Finally died to the broadside, which was the last thing that did damage, and then it exploded. Didn't kill any of the witches. Killed one of the dogs. The other one ran away in the morale phase. And then 3 mortal wounds got taken on the Warrior Raider from the explosion, because I did burn a reroll, because you can reroll things now to save from one of long strike shots, and I passed the invulnerable save. Okay, so now we're moving on to Dark Eldar, turn 1, and there's no first blood in the Relic, or Linebreaker, or Warlord. It's all about the Relic. So we shall see what happens as the Dark Eldar, reeling from this, try and take out Long Strike, because he's essentially buffing the other hammerhead. He needs to die. Okay, on to the next turn. Dark Eldar turn 1 saw the Dark Eldar army try and eliminate Long Strike. We've taken 7 wounds or 8 wounds off the character, but he still has 5 left, which means he's very much operational. The Succubus advanced behind the crate, and so did this Kabalite warrior, essentially putting some pressure on the Relic and trying to negate those fire warriors in the far corner, while some sporadic shooting killed 2 of the fire warriors in the cathedral. And I did target them with a Phantasm grenade launcher for -1 leadership, but the bonding knife means that if they roll a 6 on their leadership roll, they automatically pass their leadership, which is very handy, one might say. Okay, so we're moving on to Tau, turn 2. Long Strike gets +1 to hit, so he's essentially unfazed right now. And we're moving on to another turn of Tau shooting. The second Tau turn. Okay, so the Tau opened fire, killed the one warrior that was here to make the Succubus the closest, and a lot of smart missile systems fired into her and caused 3 wounds. So she has 2 wounds remaining. Also, one lucky fire warrior shot put a wound on the Razorwing, and the other damage did kill the Ravager, finally losing his last wound and also exploding, doing another 3 damage to that Raider. So all 6 damage this Raider's taken has been from friendly models firing and exploding. These Kabalite warriors have lost 4 of their number, and their morale was passed. And now we're moving on to Dark Eldar turn 2. Many things could happen this turn. Let's see what happens as the game comes to its dramatic middle of the game. Well, it's only turn 2, but everything feels like so fluid. Like we're having everything. This is such a fun game. I'm just really loving how my tanks, Dark Eldar tanks, haven't just exploded against the Tau army. Well, they have exploded, but I didn't lose all my tanks on the first turn, which is refreshing. Okay, moving on to the next turn. Okay, Dark Eldar turn 2, and it was time to get into the business. So, the Kabalite warriors and the succubus have charged into the fire warriors, tying them up in combat. Meanwhile, I did wound the broadside with the mandrakes that came out of the shadows, while the Razorwing killed Longstrike, and this raider failed to charge the broadside. Because it flies, it can end its movement on top of ruins as well. Also, we have the Archon and the Witches got out and wanted to engage this flank. I did lose quite a few Witches to Overwatch, and even 2 in combat, but they're now stuck in with some Fire Warriors. But the Archon, even with his reroll charge, could not make an 8-inch charge, and he is stuck out in the open. One can only hope that his shadow field will save him against the onslaught that is to follow. We're moving on to the Tau turn 3 with Longstrike down. Let's see how the rest of the game continues. Okay, end of Tau turn 3. This flank got heated when the commander decided to order all his units within 6 inches to be able to advance and counter stationary, essentially. So he advanced himself and the Hammerhead, and they got really close to the Archon, who passed like 8 Shadowfield saves against all the multiple damage weapons, and then finally the Shadowfield was taken down by the smart missile systems, and he's down 3 wounds. He's got 2 left after the Hammerhead charged him to lock him there or force him to retreat, essentially tank shocking him, because the Hammerhead flies, so he can just kind of fly out and then continue to shoot normally. The Witches did lose another model, but they killed 3 more of the Fire Warriors in combat, while in this combat over here we had the Hecatrix, the Succubus, sorry, wipe out the unit and then consolidate towards the broadside. Okay, in shooting, these Fire Warriors rapid-fired and did 2 more wounds to that Raider. And we're moving on to turn 3 for the Dark Eldar. The Power from Pain now means that I reroll charge ranges, I have +1 to hit, and I have a 6+, feel no pain, which is pretty cool. And let's see what happens as the game continues. It's all about the Relic, and it's only turn 3. End of Dark Eldar, turn 3. The Razorwing came over, we shot up these Fire Warriors, and then after morale, 1 is left alive, but he's taken the one that was within an inch of my character, so he can try and get models closer to her to shoot her, because he wants her dead. Then we had the Kabalite Warriors pick up the Relic, while my Archon has fallen back. He might not survive, but we're giving him a chance. These Witches killed the Fire Warriors they were fighting with finally, and the Mandrakes made a crazy charge up top here, and the broadside has 3 wounds left. They survived an Overwatch that could have killed the entire unit thanks to the Power from Pain, Feel No Pain roll. So we're moving on to Tau, turn 4. So Dark Eldar are now immune to all morale as the end of the game happens. I still have 1 reroll dice left, and Bob as well has 1 reroll command point left, essentially. Okay, let's see what happens. It's all about the Relic, so things are getting tight. Okay, turn 4 for the Tau. The Hammerhead moved over, blasted the 4 Kabalite Warriors into oblivion with a submunition round. The commander did his vendetta, moved over, and just blasted my Archon with his multiple D3 damage pods and just murdered my Archon. And then this Fire Warrior has disengaged from combat to just force me to either shoot him or assault him next turn. So we're moving on to Dark Eldar turn 4. The Mandrakes did put another wound on the broadside in combat because the broadside hasn't been able to damage them. So the broadside has 2 wounds left. But the biggest threat right now are still on the table. A commander with lots of shots and a hammerhead that can shoot a lot as well. We're moving on to towards the end of the game, and I still have one reroll. He still has one reroll, so we have no idea what we were going to do here. Okay, on to the next turn. End of Dark Eldar turn 4. So me shoot at that Fire Warrior a lot, and then have to charge my Succubus in there. The Raider charged into this Hammerhead, essentially trying to just, you know, be the closest thing to the Relic, while the Razorwing failed to do anything to the Hammerhead, but did put a couple of wounds on here, while the Witches also put a wound on with some shooting. So 3 wounds taken on the Commander. He's got 3 left. In the meantime, the Mandrakes did another wound on the Broadside, and the Broadside did nothing to them. But this has been an absolute bloodbath. He's got 3 models. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 models. What an absolute slaughterfest. We're moving on to turn 5. Could be the end of the game. Let's see what happens after this. Okay, so we are at the end of Tau turn 5. We had the Hammerhead try and shoot. He shot his railgun here and didn't do anything. Shot his missiles into here, didn't do anything. This shot its missiles into here and failed to do any damage as well. And then nothing happened in the combat. So essentially nothing happened this turn. The Relic is like literally right under my Raider there, and then it's just a big mess. So we're going on to Dark Eldar turn 5. Could be the end of the game, but could go on. Let's see what happens after this. Okay, we are back. It is the end of Dark Eldar turn 5. The Raider and the Succubus both charged the Hammerhead and put 3 wounds on him. And now, and then other shooting was completely ineffectual. Nothing else happened, and the Mandrakes, the Broadside passed all the saves you had to make against the Mandrakes, who were trying very, very hard to stop him from surviving. So the player who had first turn gets to roll for random game length. On a 3+, the game will continue. Bob, do the honors, sir. And the game continues on to a fateful turn 6. Let's see what happens. Okay, bottom of Dark Eldar turn 6. So, well, a lot of stuff has died. I did lose my Raider. Did I do a recount last? Yeah, I did. Yeah, well, I lost my Raider, I lost my Succubus. So then in my turn, Razorwing has boosted up. Took a wound off the character because he passed another save with his Feel No Pain Warlord trait. And the Mandrakes finally killed the Broadside. So if the game continues to turn 7, there is a chance for the Dark Eldar. I did get another Dark Lance hit off on the Hammerhead finally. It has 6 wounds remaining out of 13. And I need to roll a 4+ for the game to continue. You're all sweating at home. Come on, 4+. And I rolled a 3. The game is over. The closest model to the Relic is a Hammerhead, and the Tau have achieved a minor victory. Bob, thanks a lot for the game. First game of 8th edition.
It was fun.
You haven't played since
not at all.
Since all of 6th edition essentially,
yeah,
right?
6th edition.
Holy moly, how did you like it?
Oh, it was a lot easier and yeah, faster.
Awesome, yeah, it was definitely a faster game. Anyway, thanks a lot for tuning in. Make sure you stay tuned for the Tactical Corner that will be released later in the week, where we talk about the tactics we used this game. Link down below to the different army lists, as well as all the other cool stuff. And a big shout out to all the patrons who make this possible. Thank you so much. If you'd like to support the channel, go to the Patreon page and pledge for a reward tier. This is Skari, your grateful host, signing off till next time. The Drukhari come to play. Skari out.